And there we are. All right, we got another show tonight for you. A big one, I think. A lot to discuss. LSU spring football starting next week. We've got a basketball game to watch tonight to figure out who LSU is going to play in the SEC tournament. UTSA coming to the box this weekend in baseball. Football recruiting. We got transfer portal stuff going on. We got a whole lot of things. And, of course, we're going to be taking everybody's questions. I got Baton Rouge Sports Talk legend Buddy Sonji in the house with us again, and everybody's loving him being with us every week. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pride Roofing. Be sure to jump on their big deal where if you call them and ask for a free roof inspection and they come out and give it to you and you say TigerBait.com, they're going to give you an annual subscription to TigerBait for free, and they're paying for it. So have a lot of people jump on that. Much appreciated them. I'm going to talk about Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez a little bit more in the show. You guys coming in the chat, as always, please hit the like button, the share button, and we're going to be getting to all of your questions and comments, whether you're on our Facebook channel or on YouTube. So a lot of stuff, and I think it's going to be getting real busy. We're going to find out, buddy. Talked to Michael Bonnet 2 days ago if we're going to have access to practice. Seemed real iffy to me. If we do, I think there might be a deal where we get three, maybe a handful of media guys get to go one day, another group the next. Hopefully that's what we end up happening. But even then, it's like, okay, how are we going to get video? What's the distance? I think we could be very much in a crapshoot.
Good to see you, and good to see everybody out there on a Thursday night. And I tell you, it is interesting. It has blown by. You know, you get enamored with so many sports at LSU. Selection Sunday, this Sunday coming up. The Tigers looking to be a 7 or 8 seed. I don't think it's real important what they do in the SEC tournament, but they want to win a game. Play the winner of Ole Miss and South Carolina tomorrow night, 8:15, 8:30. Baseball still working through some issues, tweaking the lineup. K. Doty back. Mo Hampton, in case you missed it today, you've been working, you've been playing, whatever. Mo Hampton did enter the transfer portal. Mike, a little disappointing with his football play. I thought he missed too many tackles. He gave up some big plays. Safety was a real bad spot for LSU last year and struck out too much in baseball. And Coach Maneri did tell him he was behind the 8 ball. Look, when Drew Bianco is taking your place at center field as the backup, and actually the third guy after Gio got hurt, then you got a long ways to go. So he enters the transfer portal. Coach's caravan last night. Jake Pete's the new offensive coordinator.
Very impressive.
Very impressive. But how about this? We want this to be quarterback you. All those people that have been waiting for 10 years for Les to get one, you got to be loving this wealth of talent with quarterbacks. And then, of course, as always, softball at Tennessee, gymnastics a week off, getting ready to go in the SEC. And as we know, as you alluded to, spring ball starting on Tuesday. That will give us a lot to talk about. And we hope everybody's staying healthy and enjoying the fact that we're getting closer and closer each week to getting some semblance of normalcy, which has really affected the sports fan, not being able to tailgate, not being able to go to games, and all the other stuff.
Yeah, it's I agree with you. The normalcy, it's you're seeing more and more people getting shots, and you're seeing what states are doing across the country, and talk about it every week. Talked about it a little bit last week, and I got a comment on YouTube saying, "Why aren't you guys wearing masks?" Or it's anytime you talk about COVID, people want to go a little haywire on you. But yeah. Blaine Smith, when is pro day? Do you remember that date? It was at the bottom of that release.
March 31, okay. If I'm correct there. I think that's what they said.
Yeah, and I'm assuming Tyler Shelvin will be at that one.
Tyler Shelvin will be
there. So I'm really anxious to see what he's done in the offseason, what he looks like, and, of course, Jamar Chase. I'm enjoying watching all the talking heads, McShay, Kuiper, and them talking about it seemed like they got a mixed bag there. Which of those guys would take Devonta Smith? Which one would take Jamar Chase? I think they're pretty much, at a minimum, they're flip a coin. But I think 2 of the 3 guys at ESPN would take Chase. And I take Chase all day long. But still got, waiting to see what the quarterback situation is, Saints. But, we're going to talk LSU tonight. So what is Drew Brees waiting on? You know what I mean?
Yeah. We've asked that question to all of our pro guys, and they don't know. Speaking of weights, you and I are going to have a little fun. We probably before Pro Day are going to have a little contest. What do you think Tyler Shelvin's going to weigh in at? And my little guy that works the show with me and doing a great job and co-hosting the time, he said 380s. I said 355 or 350 range. I think because it's his money and his future.
I mean, what if that dude came in at 340?
He would certainly make some money. If he goes at 330, because listen, you got to have two guys to block him on the college level now. As we know, with guys' big propensity to mass, he needs to play in the 3-4 as a nose guard. But his work ethic and his academics and all that, can he flip the switch and be responsible, lose the weight, get in shape, and reap the benefits?
Mark Chambers, good evening, gentlemen. He shared it. Thanks to all you guys for sharing. Please, it really helps us with the algorithm. If you enjoy the show, hit the like button, whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, share it to your timeline. Obviously, if you're an LSU fan, probably your whole friends list is other LSU fans. Turn them on the show. Word of mouth is best of all. And I saw a question here right out the gate from Ralph Rogers. How costly is the Hampton transfer?
You know, no disrespect to the kid, but Mike, how tough is it to be a two-sport athlete at a place like LSU?
Yeah.
Now, look, Chad Jones did it, Jerry Mitchell did it, Jeremy Whitten did it. There have been some guys that have won national championships in both sports, baseball and football. But really, like I said, Hampton had every opportunity to play safety last year. And he just didn't step up and make the tackles. He missed a lot of tackles. And in baseball, he's been behind the eight ball. So I think this is one of the guys that probably has not lived up to his press clipping.
Here's the thing. Years ago, before Austin Thomas left, and LSU recruited him, and of course Jacob Phillips, and on, and really recruiting the state of Tennessee hard,
right,
because of Austin being from Tennessee.
Sure.
I was getting messages from guys that were coaching at a school in the state of Tennessee that had been at LSU before, saying, "What are y'all doing?" Because the most coaches in the South view the quality of high school football in the state of Tennessee as very weak. They don't play at a level. They don't play with tenacity. They're not as hungry. They're not like Louisiana kids.
And that's why they have to go outside the state and JC route to recruit.
Right. Well, but it's not just the numbers. It's, look, you want to say a kid's soft, because look what Jacob Phillips did at LSU. I mean, there's good football players that come out of there, but there's a whole lot of them that aren't. And I'm not saying that Hampton's soft, but he probably should have waited it out. And I don't know how much else you try to convince him or whatever, but look, if you're not going to, at a school like LSU, if you're not going to make a move, particularly at a position like defensive back, like you said, where there's a need position, they're just going to recruit right over you. There's somebody coming right behind you. So
I hate to say it, I think he was a little overrated in both football and baseball. Listen, anybody that thinks this guy's going to be a first or second round pick in Major League Baseball is dreaming. I loved his body, but he struck out way too much. So obviously he can run, but very disappointed with his safety play last year.
Mike, who is the fastest Tiger? Miles Brennan? No. I'm going to go, it's got to be Trey Palmer, right?
There's a couple of guys that I would imagine would be that. Do they have any guys under 4.4? Probably not, but I would imagine there are 2 or 3. And look, it's hard to know all of that because we don't get a chance to go out there much. We've had COVID, so we really haven't been out there in a year. We don't know whose body is fine-tuned and who's the fastest guy. But I know one thing, LSU's going to have plenty of skilled athletes to put on the field. If they can get better at the line of scrimmage and develop some depth at quarterback, as we know with these 4 now, Walker coming in and other guys in the potential fold, it's got to be great for the LSU fan not to have to worry about quarterback moving forward.
And here's the thing. What Joe Burrow did single-handedly was made quarterbacks across the country stand up and look at LSU. And everything I've seen of Pete's, kudos to Cody Warsham. I really enjoyed his video cast that the official LSU site did, which I grudgingly say that because some of us in the media kind of resent how the access that they get that the whole media doesn't get to coaches. But besides that, Pete's is just very, very warm individual. I think he comes across very well. I'm talking to recruits, parents. They absolutely love him. You can just tell he's just a down-to-earth, non-ego guy. I think the kids are buying in, and I fully suspect we're going to find out real soon, because as I'm talking to recruits, they're being told by the coaches that, hey, we want you to come to camp in June. So they're planning for it. They're planning for visits to, the dead period will end May 31st. I don't believe it's going to be extended, and you're going to start having recruits coming for camps, visits, etc. So I don't know if you'll ever top 2 summers ago when you had all those quarterbacks on campus at that elite Ed Orgeron camp. That was just off the charts. But I think that they can do that. They can have a really fantastic group. And I'm anxious to see. I think you mentioned Walker Howard in the quarterback future. He's going to the Under Armour or the Elite 11 in Houston. I think he's going to fare very well there. I know he's been going to Mobile and working out with that quarterback guru for several weekends. And so it's going to be lights out. We thought he might have a new offensive coordinator because Shane Savoie ended up getting 2 interviews at Catholic High, but they took Semino from Catholic Point Capee. Kudos to your alma mater, Catholic High, and their new head football coach, Matthew Langlois, head football coach. So, I'm people just, everybody's seeing Pete's and the stuff that's out there. I think he's very impressive, and I can't wait to get out there. I hope they allow us to go. We'll see. I kind of took a little jab at one of the guys at LSU a couple of days ago because someone said that he was Orgeron was at Rufino's in Lafayette doing a combo session with Napier at UL Lafayette in the restaurant, and I know that restaurant and I know the layout of it. People are in there like sardines, So don't say you can't have media come and stand on one sideline, but Orgeron's going to go to Lafayette and speak to a restaurant full of people, and then come back in the building the next day and be around everybody in the football program, with a week out from spring football.
But I don't necessarily think it is really the COVID protocol situation. I just think that
they're using it as an excuse.
I think more and more coaches, Mike, are trying to limit the access just because social media is so powerful. Look, we go back to the days.
Look, they're doing it to themselves. If they don't want anybody taking pot shots at Miles Brennan at a funny camera angle or saying he's got a dad bod, you're the one who posted it on your official site. That's your photographer. You're paying that salary.
Well, I know, but LSU's leaning a lot further left than they used to, and they're kind of giving you morsels of this and that. And look, we go back.
Of course, my theory on that, by the way, we did this on your show yesterday, is that they probably put those pictures out on purpose to motivate Miles, because people could be having fun with him on the internet.
Well, I think Miles is going to look better than you think.
It ain't going to take long. At that age, it don't take long.
No, it doesn't take long. But look, I go back to the days when we actually didn't get in trouble, but it did hurt LSU. Jerry DiNardo.
Tell him that story of you and Alex Box.
Well, no,
that was Curly, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, me and John Reed, who was a Picayune, they shut us out from practice, and so I said, "Come on, John." John was a new guy with the Picayune. I said, "We're going to go up to the baseball stadium and watch practice." And he goes, "What?" I said, "Come on."
That was before they had a fence.
Yeah, and so we got up there, and of course, somehow Curly found out about it, and if John wouldn't have stopped, if he'd have stopped laughing, we got away with it. Anyway, that was the year he redshirted, by the way, Alan Faneca, the Hall of Famer, and Kendall Cleveland. That being said, no, I was going to say about access. Jerry DiNardo was the coach at the time, and we were doing a lot of cyber Sanji, and you were doing a lot of stuff, and it got out that LSU had some injuries, and Georgia saw that on the internet, which was not anything like it is now, and literally helped in the game plan and defeated that. And so the fans out there want every morsel, and we understand.
Well, here's the thing.
But they're going to cut it off to what they want you to hear and see, and that's it.
The 3 or 4 period thing really started with Saban, right?
Yeah.
But the thing with Saban was the clock didn't start on our 15 to 20 minutes until they actually got to work. He would actually let us in the fence when they were stretching on the field and doing jumping jacks. And that was some of the best time, because he would come over and talk to us, and you and Saban would go after each other and kind of needle each other, and it was fun. And you'd get information. Moffitt would come over, and you'd say, man, how much is so-and-so weighing? I mean, I remember one day he gave you half the roster of the current weights of everybody right there on the field.
Well, that's because they always release weights and they're never legit because, you get weights from different years and sometimes they get heavy and sometimes, look, Miles Brennan, all right, let's get right to it. Do you think he's going to be any more than 225 pounds? I think it could be 225 to 227 and probably play a little over 220 this year.
Okay, what would you say his weight is right now? I'll just make up a number. Let's say he's 226 right now.
Okay.
I would like to see him at 210 to 215.
Well, you tell me they lose 5 pounds during the year.
Yeah, and for a guy like him, he could probably lose 5 pounds in 3 days.
Yeah.
I mean, all you got to do is cut out the torchies or whatever else he's eating near campus.
Well, I don't think look, he has worked hard, and they've been sending out all of these videos, as you said. Back to the practice thing. Look, and you and I both, you like to shoot it, and you give your clients and subscribers and listeners and all the other people with Facebook and everybody, you give them not just what LSU sends out, but you get what you shoot, and we do a little bit, and I've always liked to see over there. And coaches don't like when you say, well, here's who's running. Liam Shanahan's at center. Oh, by the way, Ingram's at left guard, and Dare Rosenthal's at left tackle, and this guy's at right guard, and Deckless is back, Station Hines and Deckless. They don't like.
Well, what they don't like is like when Brian Lazar goes out. Because Brian is like Rain Man with take and roll. He can be out there in 5 minutes and tell you who's not there, and unless somebody switched numbers and he didn't grab it,
Well, that happened.
That's what they don't like. And then you're asking, how come so and so ain't at practice?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they want to hide. They want to hide the injuries But look, I hope that we get a little snippet. I know people say, well, what can you guys see in 15 or 20 minutes? But look, I've had a lot of fun, and people have kidded me about these practice reports, but we like to give people a little bit of what we see.
See, now I've been having fun with Miles Brennan, Jabba Brennan, and then here comes Ruffino with a comment. Someone said Miles is one Popeye's biscuit away from being Jared Lorenzen.
Come on, Blake. Let me tell you what. I listened to a little bit of you tonight, and you were on fire.
It's like, he's going to have an eating disorder. Between 3 years ago, everybody talking about how skinny he was. Now it's like he's getting pulled from both directions, a poor kid.
By the way, we brought some props up here. Right here, you see Mike Scarborough's TigerBait coverage of LSU athletics and recruiting. Does a great job for many, many years. And I was cleaning out some stuff in the closet here, and I found and this is a very superstitious but a very good luck thing, a beat Bama. Now, Bama has beat the living stew and tar out of every LSU team as of late. We know what they did in football and basketball, including gymnastics and softball and all. So the next time LSU plays Alabama, this little puppy right here is going to wield them through a victory.
I got a buddy of mine that talks trash every Alabama year. And I'm like, look, man, you really need to quit doing that. I'm like, it's like, until LSU wins like 3 out of 5, just go into that week and keep your mouth shut.
But they beat LSU in everything lately, okay?
Yeah.
And so this is just a good luck. But I found this button, and of course I also have another shirt under there that was with the Brawl for It All T-shirt when LSU played Oklahoma. When LSU won a national championship for the first time in 45 years. So.
Gerard Bryant's got a great question, and maybe I missed it in one of Coach Pete's interviews he's done. Is he going to be on the field or in the press box?
I have not had that verified. And
if someone knows in the chat, let us know if you've heard or seen it reported somewhere.
I don't know if they've worked that out or released that information, but I am very excited. Oh, by the way, in case you missed it, he did say...
I think he's a press box guy.
Yeah, I think so too. And he'll have a couple guys up there, but he also said that the fullback is going to have a spot on this team, and he will weigh 215, 220 to 340 to 350. So a guy like Jacoby and Gilry may come in there, that big D lineman with the big 90 or 90 whatever number, and be a blocker. And as we know, Torrey Carter left and is going to try his luck, whatever, if he's going to be MMA or try to play football or whatever. But, it's going to be interesting because short yardage, one of the things, I said this on the radio today, I can't stand it when they all run up there real quick in that bunch formation and it's a quarterback sneak and the fullback comes and pushes them. It looks like they're going to be a little more creative, but the fullback is alive and well, and I don't think you'll see a bunch of it, but they will have fullbacks. Also, Cole Taylor is a guy they are trying to put some muscle on because
I like the way he looks.
I like the way he looks, but I think they want him closer to 260 than 245.
Yeah, and he's a super kid. And that's one of those things, too. We don't have fan days anymore. I mean, we weren't having fan days before COVID hit. So, it's just kind of kids like that you don't get, fans don't get to talk to and really get to meet. I mean, you get to see the interviews with him, but, he didn't do interviews last year because he's a freshman. But super kid. Talking to him in recruiting, absolutely loving being an LSU Tiger. Let me see if I'm missing any questions. What are we going to get out of this LSU basketball team? Is this going to be what to expect? I kind of I put up our video of Coach Wade and Watford and Smart interviews, Cam Thomas, and said, what team are we going to get? Is it going to be the one that plays defense, the one that outscores everybody, and they don't have to play good defense because they're hitting everything and going in the, or is it going to be an ugly one? I mean, they haven't had 2 or 3 games in a row where you enjoyed watching them play.
No, and Javonte Smart earlier in the year made a comment like, I don't think anybody can beat us. Man, we're really good right now. And Alabama came and set a SEC record, making 23 three balls that night and torched them. Well, he just said it again, except there was a little caveat. I don't think anybody could beat us when we all play together and we're all in. It has been frustrating, but Will Wade, once again, has done an excellent job. We know that he's been a polarizing figure for some people here. Some people call him different names, and the pair, and gangster, and this and that. But he's got LSU in a good spot. I think 7 or 8 is probably where they are going to fall with the seed on Sunday. I don't have a feel for what they're going to do in the SEC tournament. Alabama, Arkansas have been playing really well. A couple other teams need some things, but man, this is a crapshoot to know what you're going to get every night, because when Darius Days is on and they play defense and they rebound, and obviously they got.
I think Days is the glue.
Days is the key, I think.
Yeah.
I said Smart earlier, but Days, when he's on, they're tough to beat. But once again, you never know what you're going to get every night.
Yeah, I think that they win one game in the NCAA tournament and they're done. I think that's probably where you're at. I think it's probably where everybody's at. Of course, with that seed, depending on what kind of draw they get, it could be a one and done, depending on which LSU team shows up. But I think they'll win a game. But really want to talk about Pride Roofing, our sponsor every week. Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, our super friends of the show that sponsor us each and every week. The official roofing company of TigerBait.com. I keep talking about how I've been out to their big place out in Albany, Louisiana. Of course, Mike's an LSU grad. They've got enough roofing material out there to get 100 roofs done easily, and none of it's builder grade. They're using all top shelf stuff. The flashing they make in-house, it's nothing that they do is builder grade. And what's exceptional about them is their labor warranty. It's the best in the business. 5 years, Better Business Bureau A+ rated. And what more can we say about the special that they got ongoing, and they're going to keep it going. If you call them, tell them you said you saw them on TigerBait, and they're going to give you not only are they going to give you a free roof inspection, and so that way you know if you need a roof now or you need one a year from now, whatever the cost is going to be, they'll deal with your insurance adjuster. Give them a call, and they're gonna pay for you to have TigerBait free for a year. You're gonna get our premium subscription to TigerBait, which that's a super deal. So you're getting a free roof inspection and you're getting free TigerBait just by giving them a call at 275-2041. Say TigerBait, and do me a favor, thank them for sponsoring the show as well, and because we thank them every week. And Mike Faraday and those guys are super. I love having guys that sponsor the show that I personally know and go back years with. You won't be disappointed if you need a roof, and it's residential, commercial, whatever you need, they do it all. And that's from, if you're all the way in Orange or Beaumont or at the line at Orange or Vidor or Sulphur, Lake Charles, all the way to Mobile, Alabama, they've got you covered at Pride Roof, and they've got satellite locations all throughout South Louisiana, the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, and now a new location in Mobile, Alabama. And I know there's a lot of LSU fans in Mobile. So
wow, I'll tell you what, sounds like they're taking out their recruiting. A job well done is a job done with pride. Call Mike and Alex 275-2041. See, I've already got that down now.
yeah,
You know. Hey, by the way, speaking of pride. You know, we've kind of gone through the gamut with football and basketball and baseball, but has this basketball season been a little weird? I mean, normally we're excited for Selection Sunday. Hell, I didn't even think about Selection Sunday until a couple of days. Oh, by the way, for you, those folks listening, and I know most of you already know it, but don't forget, Spring Forward this weekend. We lose an hour. Saturday at whenever you go to bed, you probably stay up till 2, so you'll be going to bed and you'll flip the clock to 3. But we get an hour of sunshine, and a lot of people are thinking they may vote that in and stay on daylight savings time and quit switching. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but do it Saturday night. Don't forget about it.
I'll tell you what, the politician that does away with daylight savings time, but he wants to raise my taxes a percentage or two, I'll take the daylight savings time.
Yeah, no doubt.
And some governors have done it. What did Arizona do it a handful of years ago? Do away with it.
South Bend does not change the time.
Yeah,
there's some areas. But anyway, we wanted to get you up to snuff on that. Baseball this weekend. Baylor, by the way, they were supposed to come in Saturday. They've lost a lot of games because of the COVID protocol. So Paul Maneri got a call from the coach and said, look, we can host somebody for 3 games. Would it be all right if we get out? And so they
how did he get UTSA that quick?
Well, no, they had already had UTSA scheduled for a 3-game series. Baylor lost games, so said, can we come over and play a game? They gave them the Saturday game, and then they were able to fill 3-game set at their house. So they were scheduled originally to be the 3 games. But man, oh man, I tell you, it's going to be interesting. This SEC looks to be a beast this year. So LSU, a lot of good young talent. It's going to come down to pitching and timely hitting.
Yeah, it's you know, I listen to a bunch of guys that I know that know baseball inside and out, and every game they're like, well, yeah, they did this, but this is a red flag, and you know, but it's like as soon as you get a red flag put away and you think you've got it stored away, here comes another one. So, but it seems like a big thing is hitting. And then so you get your hit. You think you have a good night at the plate, and then the pitching gives way. So,
but does it feel like Maneri's been here 15 years?
Yeah, you know, I get after Maneri, you know, and
but does he seem like he's been here that? That's a 15 years.
You know what I give him credit for, and of course, you know, the people who are anti-Paul Maneri and have had enough, they'll say, well, that's part of the problem. Is it like when you look at the interviews that he does? I mean, he does interviews like every day almost, and a lot of them are 20 minutes long. I mean, he talks more than football coaches. Nobody does more interviews than Paul Maneri, and I think that's why if anybody would ever say, why isn't he on the hot seat? Well, I think a big part of it is because a lot of people in the media, or you know, they like the access.
Well, he also lets freshmen talk.
And he's good to them.
I like the fact that he lets freshmen talk, but look, Coach Maneri's a smart guy. Look, I'm not trying to pick on him. I always tell you this. I think there's a couple things that are prevalent, and if he's got to have a little better karma, crystal ball, luck, all those things combined on going out to the mound and keeping a guy in or taking him out, bringing in the right guy. Devin Fontenot is expected to be one of the better closers in the SEC. Struggled, had a good outing in an inning last night. But, you know, you got to peak at the right time in baseball, and people forget it's a marathon. But it is a little worrisome when Texas Southern's beating you and they losing the game to Air Force, and this one, you know.
Yeah, but at what point does he, you know, make a change at who's his Friday pitcher?
Well, that's the other thing, too. I mean, that was the crazy thing, to get beat by Oral Roberts 22-7, Jaden Hill. But he's going to get the ball tomorrow night, and you hope that he gets back his confidence.
Scott Tronhon, good job, Mike. Scott, of course, a long-time subscriber to TigerBait. Thanks for the nice comment. And let's see. You know what? I'm surprised, guys. We are now 30 minutes into the show. Not a single person has brought up Title IX finding, which dominated last Thursday night's show, and no one's brought up Les Miles getting fired and his AD getting fired. So I think people have turned the page on that. So I guess that's a positive thing.
Well, a lot of people were surprised. A lot of people were not surprised. It is a bad look for LSU. There's been a lot of controversy. They took it to the legislature. And let's be honest here. These young women that were raped and all the other things that happened, somebody had a partially nude photo. Can you imagine? I mean, the bodybuilder and Playboy Mike, but can you imagine an ex-girlfriend was throwing out to people a partially nude picture? I mean, all of that is very traumatic. But unfortunately, this stuff has happened all over Michigan State, and I'm not condoning any of it, but I am saying that I don't think you can just rush and say, let's do this, this, and this and solve all the problems. I think this is going to be a long-term solution, and I don't think what happened in those situations 10 years ago and more, I just don't think they could happen nowadays. Do you?
My takeaway from Friday's presser with that was of when the lawyer kind of raised that he is skeptical that LSU would, install all 18 of his points or his recommendations, and Galligan said, "Oh no, we're doing all 18." And when he said we want to, it might be good for y'all to have a website where you're like ticking off the box of the 18 as you go, and he said he was going to do it. So I think he's going to be held accountable. But I do think on Friday he came across very well of everybody that day. So, it is an ugly situation, but LSU's got to get it resolved.
The last thing with Jeff Long cost LSU a ton of money. Remember it like it was yesterday. I think Oliva was actually on vacation, and Les had just called Arkansas or Kansas. So I didn't think they were ever going to seriously consider him. But if you remember, Jeff Long says, I want to talk to Les. Of course, Joe Oliva came back and then gave Les that incredible Teflon contract, which was what LSU was pretty much guaranteeing 18, 19, 20 million or whatever over 6 years, whatever it was. And then 3 months later, we find out that Joe is trying to tell his superiors and people in the know, and obviously people with the chancellors and the president and the board, that we've got some serious issues about what's going on here. And this is a bad look.
So now when you see that, that's been the question, and you and I have talked about it on the phone. I've had other people talk to me about it, where look, first of all, Oliva's problem was he never had any charisma. He didn't come across as likable. He wasn't a guy that was out in the parking lot stopping at people's tailgate parties and had a smile. He's not that friendly type of guy like Woodward is, or Skip certainly. Of course, Skip had all the national championships and is beloved, and he had political capital to burn. But people are saying, man, do we need to be reevaluating the history of Joe Oliva when you see that he wanted him gone and pushed for it and he got denied?
No, because as an AD, you have to close deals, and he was. But
that's a history of Board of Supervisors.
Well, I was going to say the Board of Supervisors. Bob Broadhead, we go back a long way, folks. Bob Broadhead once said, "I'm going to the Board of Supervisors meeting, and I'm looking to wear a bulletproof vest."
I've gotten to the age now where Board of Supervisors are my age. They used to be the older guys. Now they're my age, and so I know some of these. A lot of people don't even know what the shape of a football is. They're personal injury attorneys in whatever part of the state. They're this, they're that. But to circle back, you're talking about what Long did in getting Miles that contract in the Arkansas flirtation. It's amazing what some of LSU's coaches, and we're talking about Maneri, how other schools coming in and thinking that your guy's a candidate, what that's done to the millions of dollars that have been put into guys' contracts. I mean, if Augie Garrido doesn't retire and Texas doesn't act like they're coming after Maneri, would Maneri have the deal he's got right now?
Well, and that was once again on Joe's watch. And the point I was trying to make is that he could not close deals with the Board of Supervisors and the chancellors and the presidents. Now, F. King Alexander is backtracking like you wouldn't believe. And I had some people that watched him give some speeches, and he did not like athletics, and he was all about academics. And so that was problematic. But the point of it is that politics is alive and well. LSU's probably more left than they've ever been, and they're continuing to drive in that direction as this world and certainly mainstream media has. And if you're going to get something done, you've got to sell the board and the bigwigs that make the decisions onto your side. And Joe Oliva was playing golf, and I saw him playing one day with all his friends. He was in a onesome. He had a cart and a bag, and unfortunately,
nobody needed asked to play through with Oliva ahead of him.
No, and look, I talked to Joe at some of these golf tournaments and all that, and I was very critical of Joe. But you can't give away this kind of money, Mike. And they all did it. The agents did it. Look, if you win a national championship, remember, I want to make $1 more than the most highest paid. That went on for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Saban was worth all that money. Less, not. And oh, by the way, remember, there's a lot of criticism about him giving the contract that he did. So
yeah, Dane Bergeron, I was not surprised about Miles. I've been talking about it for years on TigerBait, that Miles was not the nice guy everybody thought he was.
Fred. Dan, Fred is going to light you up now.
Yeah. Look, it's, and that's been a part of it where some of the fans and that have loved Les and have been aggravated the last few weeks because, Miles' legacy's been tarnished. There's no doubt about it. There's going to be no Hall of Fame. I don't think you're ever going to see Miles. I just don't see it. I don't ever see Miles coming 10 years from now and tipping his hat between quarters on the 10-yard line. I just maybe I'm wrong. Think about what we were saying about Dale Brown back in the day. We thought that would never happen with him, and he got, after a while, Billy Cannon, his issues. Maybe over time, but he's not a young guy now. Is there enough time?
The one thing I will say about Les Miles that I don't think is in dispute is that he brought us the greatest special team plays in the history of LSU. And my favorite, of course, is Flynn with the little flip over the shoulder to Colt David against Spurrier with the fake kick and scoring. But man, all the Josh Jasper picking up Domang, all of them, he did a lot of that. But God, and I told him this one day, I said, Coach, you're going to die trying to live up to Bo Schembechler with that freaking offense. And he just would not. And that was the maddest. Look, the fans washed their hands of him after the Green Bay trip. That's the maddest I've ever seen the fans, because Les had told them we're going to throw the ball, and the first play was tossed back to an injured Leonard Fournette, and he got it about 20 times, and he lost to Wisconsin. But he did a lot of great things, and oh, by the way, what great sound bites. One smart one he did, remember? This is the only team that's been undefeated in regulation this year. And look.
Who spun that for him?
I don't know.
There's no way he came up with that with himself.
I don't know, but we know he was quirky.
Somebody fed that to him.
I know for a fact Saban and other coaches in the league did not respect him, but he did do some great winnings. And all I'm going to say about Fred, our great subscriber, is that he texted me today and said, Mike, you and Buddy kick Les Miles around, but just remember what my last name is. Right.
Yeah.
How about that, Fred? I gave you a plug.
Yeah. Let's see here. Dane Bergeron. Dane's given us a lot of comments tonight. Do you think Verge Alsbury survives? My thing with Verge is you don't give a guy 30 days without pay suspension, and during that 30-day period he's got to go to a seminar or take some classes. If you're going to fire somebody, you're saying, we're going to suspend him without pay for 30 days while we reevaluate. Then to me, that would be a tell that, hey, he's in trouble. But also go back to after the fact when the girl media member asked, do they think that the penalties were enough? And, Woodward kind of stood his ground and said, yeah, I mean, he wasn't going to, he was pretty adamant about the 15 days for Miriam Seagar and the 30 days for Verge Osbury was enough. And so I don't see anything more going on there. But look, I've talked to some other people this week that think, no, it isn't over. So, but I think it is.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
Look, we both know Verge, and Verge is an upstanding guy, and obviously you got a couple kids that are going to play for U High and get.
They both have LSU offers.
Highly recruited. Verge has always been good to me, and I think it's not just Verge; it's a lot of people. Hell, Drake Davis just got off. He violated probation. The judge said, "Oh, you okay?" I mean, unfortunately, there have been a lot of wrongs.
There was no procedures in place because the real big takeaway is if you're one of those people that follows the minutia of every little thing about LSU football, Miriam Seagar. How a stickler she is. You've got coaches out there off the record saying, they've been saying for years, I don't know who's a harsher opponent, the first place team in the SEC or Miriam Seagar. Is she on our side or is she on their side? Because she knows every bylaw and does it by the book and reads things in the statutes that aren't there. And just to be uber careful. You've got a whole bunch of people that were on that 2012 Les Miles staff that believe she single-handedly, her and Bonson and the whole compliance office with their handling of Tyrann Mathieu cost them a national championship. And you can make that argument. Tyrann Mathieu plays in 2012. They could have won another national championship. That's a big component you did not have. So I just have a hard time believing, knowing what I know about her and the way she's conducted herself, that if she had a list of procedures that was written in stone of how to handle Title IX complaints and those type of things, that she wouldn't have followed it to the letter of the law.
I just don't think there are easy answers to all of this. I think you have to feel for those that have been violated. And listen, we're starting to see it now with a politician up in New York, and this stuff is coming out everywhere. And it is sad. Back to what you were just saying about Tyrann Mathieu leads me to another point, and we haven't mentioned it on this show, but and it's not condoning of recreational marijuana. I just think that if a kid can go to Texas A&M and Georgia and Alabama and other places and fail 6 or 7 or 8 drug tests and they still play, now it hurts them at the combine because they found out at the combine.
And I don't know that even hurts them anymore.
Well, I'm just saying though, but LSU, and so here's the thing. They won't let you play if you, and of course it's not the recreational, it's all that synthetic stuff these guys are crazy about. But they say, well, why are they just strict on this way, but yet from the sexual stuff, a little different light. So it's a complex problem, but I do think there should be a standard rule that every team in the SEC follows the same rule with that kind of stuff.
Kevin Pavone, this subject sucks. Let it die, gentlemen. I agree. Let's move on tonight. Let's talk about something more pleasant. LSU's spring football starts next week. If I'm leaning towards we're not going to have access, and hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised if they give us like they're claiming they're going to try and do, give us access in groups. But I really am very upbeat about this LSU football team, and if they don't let us in, they're going to give us media, they're going to give us video, but of course it's video that they've shot, and all of us are going to be using the same video, unfortunately. But I'm really excited about seeing not only the new coaches getting to work, how they interact with the players on the field, if we get any of that action and be able to see it. And also to hear about some of the movement of some of the players, some key positions. We're hearing a lot of great things about Andre Anthony and how he's come a long way, and him being a big team leader. I want to see who some of the new team leaders are going to be that assert themselves. I think that 5-5 season last year and all the negativity and all the everything that went with it, I think this team is as hungry as it gets. I really believe that. I think they're poised to have an excellent season. And you knock on wood, you just want to come out of spring with no major injuries. It's going to prevent a kid from being able to play in the fall.
By the way, I've had a couple of people ask me if they think that fans will be allowed for the spring game. Now, you and I have had this discussion about percentage of fans, and Texas and other places are saying we're going to go 100%. It'd be nice. Now, look, LSU.
But 25, if you're using the same formula as the fall, 25%. That's more than come to a spring game anyways.
Yeah, but I'm still feeling pretty good about our little discussion. I think at some point LSU is going to get to 100%. Look, everybody that wants to get vaccinated is going to have a chance to do it by May. So I'm hoping that. But back to spring, April 17th, I think I heard 12 noon. But the two scrimmages the 2 weekends before are certainly more important.
That's
and we don't get a chance to see that.
No, but that's where you're waiting to hear little tidbits. Those are what's really telling. The spring games are there isn't a bigger waste of time other than just if they let you out there and if the band's going to play and you enjoy being out there and the weather's nice, get some suntan on your white legs, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's those scrimmages that particularly that second one, this big.
Well, new coordinators, and nobody has ever seen them call a play. Durante Jones has never been a defensive coordinator. Jake Peetz has never been a play caller. And so that's another reason why I think they don't want to have a bunch of this stuff that comes out in spring because, let's be honest, there's going to be a little cat and mouse. Oh, by the way, it does look like more and more people are thinking that UCLA game is going to happen now. And they're playing Hawaii a week before at the.
Yeah. Now, what about that?
Well,
them getting a game in before LSU comes.
Pluses and minuses. You get to see what they have. On the other hand, most people feel like you get the tweaks out on the first game. But LSU's going to be a 7-8 point favorite anyway, maybe even more.
And I think LSU's going to be favored in every game on the schedule, but Alabama.
Now, possible.
And of course, we know Alabama lost a lot. And LSU plays better in Tuscaloosa against Alabama than they do in Baton Rouge. That's just the history of it.
Yeah, going to be interesting, but I would say they'll be favored 9 to 10 games for sure.
Scott Trahan wants to ask you about Micah Baskerville and what you think how he's going to improve.
I think somebody was making a comment about Damone Clark today. By the way, we've had this discussion before. Are you enamored with the 18s and the 7, or do you think maybe they should change that? Now, the two 18s, one for offense and defense, worked great when you had Cushenberry and Caleb on. But last year, that was a bust. Chris Curry and Damone Clark. Back to the question, Micah Baskerville showed signs of coming along. But look, it's 4-2-5. You're going to play nickel, so you're only going to have two linebackers. You're going to have a guy that runs and covers in space. And so I think there'll be 5 or 6 guys vying for PT.
I think you're always going to have a 7. Just because the nature of the athletes that are always going to be at LSU. Sure. But I wouldn't mind seeing 18. Man, 3 years where you got Hester on that committee. Who else? Who else makes that decision?
Richard Dixon and all kinds. All the guys.
And Stringfellow in that group.
Yeah. And
I mean, look, if you
I think all the guys that wore 18 have a.
I mean, if you go 2 or 3 years where you don't think a guy's worthy of it, then don't give it out. Sit on it, and then really make it worth. Like, wow, it's been a while since they gave an 18 away,
Speaking of that.
Make it to be, it's got to be really somebody exceptional. Don't just hand them out like they're Skittles.
I'm going to just throw this out here in March, but and I know it sounds crazy for a guy that made freshman All-American, but I'll tell you who I think is going to be the most improved player on LSU's football team in 2020.
Yeah, Scott Trahan says has not been in school, Micah Baskerville has not been in school. It's been reported and not in the football ops building at all.
Wow. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then he could be in the transfer.
Yeah, Jonathan Buras says the same thing. So, might have been something. Yeah, you and I got in here a couple of hours ago, and yeah, there you go.
I was going to say,
as soon as I get off here, I'm going to do some digging, guys, and I'll have it on TigerBait.
Look, they're going to have Strong, the JC, and Greg Penn, and all those other guys coming in there. I got a lot of linebackers from last year that didn't get a chance to play. I was going to say. Is it a no-brainer that you give Stingley number 7? Because that's my guy who I think I think is going to play appreciably better in 2021. That was just a bad year for Stingley.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's a no-brainer. But maybe he wants to keep his number. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll get to work on the Baskerville thing. Look, it could be it could be grades, it could be sickness, it could be all kinds of things.
Mike Jones coming in.
Mike, yeah, and look, the bottom line is that he's a guy that has been hit and miss so far.
Yeah, Dane Bergeron. He's got a thing about 18. He says save it for Arch Manning. So he can wear his grandpa's college number.
Wow. Well, Arch has got a ways to go before he gets here, but that
and
would be...
you saw in the Cajun Dome a couple of nights ago, Walker Howard and Bo Bordelon, and they were all there in the stands with Arch Manning playing in the playoffs, and all those kids talk, guys. And Cooper Manning, Jamie Howard, all them dads talk. Ben Bordelon. Of course, Ben's son's Bo is a commitment to LSU offensive line. A.J. Johnson committed to LSU at wide receiver. They're all friends. So I know a bunch of old timers just enjoy saying no Manning will ever play for LSU. That ain't a slam dunk.
Yeah.
And if Pete's has a great offense this coming year, LSU's right back in the thick of it like they were when Brady was there. And I was there at the 7-on-7 camp when Joe Brady, before LSU, the 2019 season kicked off, and him sitting in the golf cart. I think I still have the pictures. I got some great pictures of Joe Brady sitting in a golf cart next to Archie Manning and Cooper standing on the side of it. And Cooper's wife sitting in one of them folding chairs as Arch was out on the field before, just coming into, not even started his 9th grade year yet, out there doing 7-on-7. So, I think LSU can be a factor there, but look, you still got a couple years left. It's going to be very interesting, and that's another deal too. I think you're really going to start to have that component that we've always had, where are these kids going to camp? Where are they going for unofficial visits? Who's on the sideline for a home game? I mean, are we going to get to the point where it's not only are we having camps and unofficial and official visits, but are they even going to allow recruits on the sideline at games? I mean, is it? How far back to normal are we going to be this coming football season?
Well, it's going to be a week-to-week, month-to-month thing. Back to Baskerville and other things. Look, there's going to be some players that get in the transfer portal, and there's going to be some players that see where they fit. Mo Hampton, you all this talk about Derek Davis, that affected his decision.
Oh, yeah.
Todd Harris, everybody on the team respects him, but he's given up a lot of plays. We know that Sage Ryan's coming in. You mentioned Langlois, but Jordan Tolles, this is his year to do something.
Yeah, because it was this time last year we were getting Jordan Tolles, not Jordan Tolles to death, but he was like, Derek Davis is like Jordan Tolles right now, this time last year. So is Jordan Tolles going to step up and be a guy? And, it's always interesting as to why these kids go in the transfer portal. What are they seeing in these workouts every day? But what I always hate about it is it, why not go through spring football and see where you land? I don't think it's a good look on guys.
Well, but this is what we're saying, folks, that people are going to transfer and leave a lot more because the landscape of college football is appreciably different from even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
By the way, Toto is probably going to sign with Alabama and play with Alabama, and that comes from a guy that played at Tennessee. Who knows where Eric Gilbert is going to go? But I think this free agency in college football, Mike, I don't have too many people that are saying it's a good thing.
Yeah, Eric Herbst, LSU will be a factor with Arch Manning. So we'll see. Daniel Glenn, I hope Mike isn't mad because of the Clemson guy coming in. So let's see, guys. I think we're about done tonight, guys. I want to thank you all for participating. Go to TigerBait.com. We want to have you as a premium subscriber. Choose the annual package. I tell you all that all the time. When you choose the annual package, you're basically getting 3 months of TigerBait free, and you got the spousal acceptance factor because you only get billed one time a year with the annual rather than once a month. So go to TigerBait.com, subscribe. Please like and share this video on Facebook and hit the notification bell. Subscribe on YouTube. And much appreciation to you, to Pride Roofing for sponsoring us every week. Give them a call. Get your free roofing inspection, and they'll foot the bill for your premium annual subscription to TigerBait. You call them for the free roof inspection. Tell them TigerBait.com, and you're going to get TigerBait free for a year. You cannot beat that deal. And they do everything to deal with your insurance adjuster. If you have an insurance issue, hail damage, storm damage, whatever it may be, they're the guys to call. Give them the call, 275-2041. And we'll be back next Thursday night. Thanks to all you for participating. And go to TigerBait.com. Loads of recruiting stuff coming your way. Our spring football coverage. We've got more analysis breaking down by position coming early Monday morning, leading into the spring practice starting next week. So we'll have it all, and plus all the interviews and stuff with Orgeron and players that will start next week as well with spring football. All that'll be loaded into our YouTube channel. So go to TigerBait.com and subscribe there and get the notification bell for that. So see y'all next Thursday night. And once spring football, if we get access, I'm going to be going live a lot. It ain't just going to be on Thursday nights. We're going to be doing live stuff a lot. So be on the lookout for that. That's why you want to hit the notification bell. Good night, guys. Much appreciated.